Is Psycho 2 the most underrated, devalued, underappreciated sequel in the genre? I think so. Even in 2026, even with 43 years to win us over, which it certainly has won a lot of us over, I still to this day think it is the least appreciated, overlooked sequel of all time. And that goes for everything. Every Halloween sequel, every Elm Street sequel, every Friday sequel, all the Hellraisers, all the big franchises, everything. What Psycho 2 was able to do 23 years later, nothing is ever going to be able to match it. Nothing. You know what I mean? The early Halloween sequels, the early, 2 of everything, 3 of a lot of things, you know what I mean? The earlier sequels to those big franchises, they were pretty damn successful and pretty awesome because they were still fresh, they were still new. People hadn't lost interest. I think what made Psycho 2 at least stick was when it came out. It was still, the slasher genre was still in its prime. I think it was filmed in 82 and released in 83. But if you have not seen Psycho 2 by someone and you're watching this video, after you're done with this, you need to watch Psycho 2. I mean, it doesn't hold a candle to the original. The original Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's classic, is just an absolute pillar, an absolute just juggernaut of the genre that will never, ever be topped. But I've talked about in a lot of posts and a lot of things that I think that Psycho overall is probably the most overlooked, devalued franchise as a whole. But Psycho 2, what it was able to do, and the staying power that it's had all these years later, I still love watching Psycho 2. The performances, the way that Anthony Perkins is able to just step back into the role, but do something completely different, where for a while there you think, is he better? Is he healed? Can this guy really redeem himself? And then we see how it all goes, and then the addition of Meg Tilly's character into the franchise was amazing, and the way her mother was still there, with Crane's sister, still wanting to seek that vengeance on Norman Bates, and have him locked up for life, the way that all played out, and with us kind of knowing it towards the end, not knowing at first, is she really on Norman's side, and this and that, and then we find out that it's the daughter, and that they're working together to try to really catch Norman into, falling into that trap hole again, and the way the sheriff is kind of on edge with being on his side, and wanting to give him the benefit of the doubt, and this and that, but just the mood and atmosphere of Psycho 2, the elements that it brought to the time, being in color didn't bother me, if you think about it, because Psycho in 60 was in black and white. It was 83. The house, Norman, everything, you could still buy it. Everything was flawless. They could not have done it any better, even if it was in 1963, let's say, or 64 when Psycho 2 came out. Waiting 23 years, it makes me wonder, all these years later, was it a good idea? Was it a good idea to wait that long and wait for it to be released when horror was an absolute white flame? And yes, it did. But it's just, in my opinion, what I've always thought is it just got caught up in the mix of the big three. You know what I mean? Those first 3 Friday films had been released and were out, and Jason was a juggernaut. You get Elm Street in 84 the following year. You had Halloween 1 and 2, and then you had Season of the Witch. You know what I mean? It was all the rage, and then people were like, wait, oh, Jason. Oh, wait, who's Norman Bates again? A lot of people probably forgot about it, you know, depending on what kind of a fan you were back then. You know, I wasn't alive. I wasn't there day one for the release. But I have never seen a Psycho movie in the theater. But it would be incredible to like do an all-day event where you could see the first 4 Psycho movies back to back to back to back in the theater. That would be fucking epic. But I mean, I've shown, I think my wife has seen the entire franchise, including Bates Motel. That is one franchise that's funny now that I think about it. Yeah, Gina has not seen the entire Halloween franchise for very good reasons. She has not seen the entire Elm Street franchise or the entire Friday franchise for very good reasons. Scream, yes. Hellraiser, no. Certainly not. Child's Play, no. I mean, Leprechaun, certainly not. But I mean, if you think about it, even that 98 remake is just, it's so uncalled for. It's so not needed, beat for beat. Nothing against Vince Vaughn or Anne Heche or any of that. But I showed it to her just so she could see, wow, this really is the same freaking thing, just 38 years later. Wow, holy cow. But it's interesting because it still doesn't make it a bad movie if you'd never seen the original. I think a lot of horror fans look at that movie the way they do because the original is held in such high regard. But that just shows how solid that franchise is, that it was able to be so spaced out until they made a sequel. And then 2, 3, and 4 was between 83 and 90. I think Psycho 4 was 1990. And like I said, I've talked about how I still find that Showtime TV movie still pretty freaking solid. It felt like more of a soft rebootish kind of sequel to just part 1, I guess. But even, you know, it doesn't really feel like 2 and 3 are canon. But, you know what I mean? It just, because it feels more of connection with 1 than anything. But Psycho 2 is just an absolute, it's such a good time. It's so well paced. I don't care that it's not a 90-minute gore fest. It takes its time. It flushes it out. It's saying to us, okay, we have not been here in X amount of years. We've got to catch you up. We've got to get you reacquainted with the character of Norman Bates and the Bates Motel, the Psycho House, everything. And it does it so fucking well. It's awesome. I really, really do have a love for the Psycho franchise. And it just makes me wonder, you know, if you're some one of those fans that are just, it's old, boring, this and that. I can't watch any of those. It's stupid. Bates Motel was cool, but no, movies, no. No, go back and try it. I'm telling you, if you've only seen the original Psycho, give the sequels a chance. You will not be disappointed. All 3 of them are pretty damn rock solid, but that second one, Psycho 2 from 1983, the movie that we're talking about in this video, is just, like I said, I can't say it enough. It is definitively, in my opinion, the most underrated horror sequel ever. I don't know what will ever top it. Do I think it could be? Yes. Eventually, it could be, yes. But to this day, it has held that crown, it's held that title forever, since its release. It's held the title for 43 years, and I think it's going to continue to hold that title until further notice. I don't see anything topping it for the foreseeable future, but we'll see how certain movies of the last 25 years or so age. You know, I think a lot of people, including myself, I didn't necessarily feel that way as a kid. I felt more like that as I've understood the lore of Psycho as I've gotten older. But let me know down in the comments below what your horror sequels, your most underrated, undervalued, underappreciated horror sequels of all time are. It doesn't have to be a part 2. Let me make that loud and clear. It does not have to be a direct sequel to the original, a part 2. It could be anything. For God's sakes, yes, Jason Takes Manhattan could be, in your opinion, the most underrated horror sequel ever. So I'm just letting you know, it just so happens to be that it's a part 2, but it could be anything. Any entry into a franchise. So let me know what you guys think. You never ever know. There could be something else out there that I'm forgetting. I don't know, but I've thought long and hard about it, and my brain never has to, nothing else ever crosses my mind. It's always going to be Phycho 2. So like and subscribe, and something else I gotta say. Thank you guys very, very much. I haven't gotten around to saying this yet, but we did it. We reached 1,000 subscribers on this channel, and it has been one hell of a freaking awesome journey, and I love it. I love you guys all. Thank you very much. It's been awesome. I guess now we gotta creep towards 2,000. So until next time, you guys all take it easy. We will talk to you down in the comments below. Peace out.